Hello there, welcome to my review of the Rockford Files Season 5, Episode 13, The Battle Axe and the Exploding Cigar. Written by Rogers Turrentine, Man Rubin and Michael I. Wagner, and directed by Ivan Dixon. The episode begins with Jim driving a white Cadillac back from Vegas, containing the inebriated Bernard L. Petrankus, and when the cops pull them over, it turns out that the car also contains a cache of loaded weapons. So both men are arrested and taken to the offices of the FBI. Here the ATF and FBI are butting heads over who gets the collar, but they do manage to work out that Petrankus must be innocent because he's merely the passenger. We then go back and forth between cocky ATF agent Tony Musier and seasoned FBI agent Spelling as they interview Petrankus and Rockford respectively. Both men tell their stories, and we know that Jim is telling the truth because that was definitely not his car.
In his Cadillac.
Meanwhile, the formidable Eleanor Bateman, the battle axe of the title, and our Columbo connection, Marge Redmond having appeared in Sex and the Married Detective, is furious that one of her typing pool girls has been sequestered to keep notes on Tony's interrogation.
I'm not really authorized.
Oh, and there's an Agent Donegan lurking.
Excuse me, are you going in?
No, I just came down to use the bathroom.
It's not long before Jim and Petrankus are thrown in jail, but Petrankus is quickly bailed, while Jim is left to twist in the wind.
Hey, Deputy, you got anything on me? Rockford? The name's James Rockford. You got anything on me?
This is another novel opening for the show, made all the more so by the inclusion of on-screen graphics, giving us time, date and location information, as if this was a meticulously filed government report. We know Jim's innocent, but we don't know how guilty Petrankus is, or what part Mrs. Eleanor Bateman or Agent Donegan have to play in all this. Petrankus' guilt is firmly established in the next scene, when he immediately makes a deal to buy more guns. When Jim finally managed to get out on bail, he goes to see Spelling and demands to know why Petrankus got out so quickly, and why there's now no record of Petrankus ever even being there at all. Something which Spelling is clueless about, and not only have all the records of Petrankus' arrest disappeared, but so has the stenographer who took all the notes of his interview.
Now, this Stacy Hutchins is the only one absent?
Yes, she's on sick leave.
She has apparently called in sick, but both Jim and Mrs. Bateman think there's something fishy going on. We then discover what part Donegan has to play in all this. He works for the National Intelligence Agency, the show's stand-in for the CIA, and is the one arranging to sell guns to Petrankus, and organise the whole cover-up, in a scheme that seems to be inspired by Angel's fake scam from the Dog and Pony show.
Otherwise, I might have found out about the time I was running guns down to the rebels in Guatemala. Guns were rickety old things. They'd blow up in your face, if you shot them.
Donegan's whole plan is collapsing before it's even begun, as the FBI, ATF, Mrs. Bateman and Jim all now smell a rat, and all start their own investigations.
Mary Ann, give me the county jail. Sergeant Gainey.
This has gone from a mildly intriguing opening to an absolutely fascinating one, as we see that Jim has fallen into a plot involving weapons trafficking in the US Secret Services. The utter incompetence of every bunch of letters agency here, whether they are preventing or committing crimes, is very funny, particularly juxtaposed with the laser-focused hyper-competence of the woman from the civil service. Mrs. Bateman and Rockford converge at the stenographer Stacy's apartment, both there less than legally, and spotting a common purpose between them, Jim helps her avoid more NIA goons, while she is able to fill in some of the gaps of the story that he's got himself involved in.
Who's this Mr. Donegan?
He's with the National Intelligence Agency.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Their unlikely alliance uncovers that Bateman has been framed for stealing top-secret information. But in amongst this, we also get some touching scenes where Jim gets her to drop her battle axe act, and it even sets up a hint of romance between her and Rocky.
There's a TV special on at 10 o'clock. I've been waiting all week to see. Why don't you stick around and watch it with me?
Thank you, I'd like that.
They eventually track down the location of the guns, with the ATF and FBI not far behind. Not fast enough to stop Petrankus from hijacking the shipment. The guns, and an undercover NIA agent, are transferred to a boat for shipment, and while Jim, Mrs. Bateman, the FBI and the ATF try to stop the gun running, the NIA try to make sure it goes ahead.
The boat's gotta sail.
We quickly find out why when a gunfight ensues. The NIA's plan was to sell defective guns to communist regimes in South America and Africa, in the hopes of wasting some of their money. It also turns out that Stacy is fine, being romanced by an NIA agent for a couple of days just to keep her out of the way. Very ethical. This is a brilliant episode that might be relatively light on plot, but that elevates the material with how well crafted the world is. Each Fed character is given a unique personality. The young hotshot ATF guy, the weary-by-the-book FBI guy, and the renegade NIA guy helps distinguish them from each other as well as from their respective agencies, but it also feeds into their role in the plot. And their initial incompetence never feels exaggerated, as they all also show their intelligence later on. Their intergovernmental rivalry and dislike is also played very naturally, with the FBI and ATF begrudgingly working together within the law, while the NIA act like a bunch of cowboys outside of it. The matronly Mrs. Bateman is exactly the sort of person you would imagine runs the secretary pool of a government organisation. But allowing her the opportunity to mellow as a person while remaining professional is a beautiful touch that the episode didn't need to do, but is also all the better for it.
You went out on a limb for Stacy. They know that.
The plot itself also feels real, and exactly like the sort of insane scheme that the CIA were coming up with at the time, selling broken guns to revolutionaries they didn't like, with no consideration that the revolutionaries might just be able to fix those guns, and hoping that by conning them out of some of their cash, they would suddenly abandon their political causes. Jim's role in all this, while limited, is also absolutely crucial, as he's the first one to get the sense that something is off, and is also tenacious enough to pursue it, not wanting to be left holding the bag. But he's also the character that sees what happening is not just wrong, but also absolutely ridiculous. There's also the subtle disdain the writers demonstrate for certain characters in the show, with both government agents Donegan and gunrunner Petrankus making racist digs towards the same black character.
We're having a hard time finding black guys we can trust.
I don't like dealing with your kind of people.
Highlighting the similarities between two people who are supposed to be on opposite sides of the law and yet are working very much towards bending it to their will. Those lines of dialogue don't need to be in the script to further the plot, but they instantly inform us about the characters saying them. The pace of this episode is also incredibly well judged, as it flies by without ever being confusing, and I really have to highlight the performance of Marge Redmond, perfectly playing the uptight Bateman, with just the right amount of sympathy, so we actually care what happens to her, and feel sorry for her when her staff turn against her. And the character of Mrs. Bateman fits in perfectly with the show's aesthetic. It's a real shame that she never returned, as it would have been great to have her paired with Jim again. They're such a fun team. This is easily a 5 out of 5 for me. Thank you. Goodbye.